record. Okay. Wow, this is great. We're on live with Lynda Horvat. What is up?
Hey, how are you doing, Ben?
Excellent. I wanted to call this interview so excited in the Wow. Hold on one second.
No worries.
Perfect. I just had it
Okay.
streaming and I heard it. It's a 10-second delay, but I'm really excited. So we're going to start this interview with a really big bang. We've been really busy this morning, right?
Yes, we have. Yes. Believe it or not, real estate is hopping, notwithstanding the stay-at-home requirements.
Yep.
People are selling, buying. Oh, beautiful.
Yep.
I love
Thank
that
you.
artwork.
Thank you. Okay, go inside.
One of your beautiful daughters?
Yes, that was Olivia. And it's just amazing to me how we're operating, we're staying function, you know, and on the phone with cities and banking institutions and getting these deals closed. That's phenomenal. And
oh, absolutely.
And even before this, what was really cool was, I mean, we were navigating really difficult issues, but again, under these circumstances, we're still pulling through.
Correct. I'm still having great success with closings, even where they're permitting and code violation issues, because first, you've been incredibly helpful in getting those resolved. And also people are wanting to make sure their deals close because right now the interest rates are still phenomenal and they need the inventory that's available in Miami, which in certain brackets is very limited, and the coronavirus hasn't magically made more inventory available. So
yeah,
people are aware of that and they're taking this opportunity to buy and sell. So we've been busy in my office.
And we always have, and I call this in the trenches too, we always have interesting legal conversations and different perspectives. You had mentioned to me a couple days ago, because I know you represent a lot of associations, that, you know, people are in their houses right now more. What type of, they're in their condos, they're in their houses, they're all riled up. What type of advice do you have for them? And number one, keeping their unit protected. Number two, not we also want members to understand that they're a part of the association.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody who's an owner of a condominium is a member of a community. And so they each have obligations, not just to themselves, but to each other. And together they form the association. And I think a lot of times that's lost on unit owners. They feel like it's them against the association, but they are one with the association. And so I think sometimes a little bit of decency and courtesy can go a long way, and particularly now that people are very stressed out. They're wondering how they're going to make their maintenance fee payment. They're stressed because they're in a unit with other family members. They can't get out. And so it's easy for them to start to look at small things, like maybe somebody not parking entirely in the middle of the 2 yellow lines, to make a problem. But I think they have to be conscientious of the fact that everybody's going through some difficulty, and that trying to make sure that there's peace is very important. This is really a good time for them to actually take a moment to see how they can better protect their unit and the common elements for those boards, because in 2 months we're going to be up against hurricane season.
People, what's very interesting is you close the gym, you close the pool, and people are just looking to get out.
Exactly. But there's a lot of things that they can do walking around their community, and maybe determining what they should be looking at in terms of like the upcoming hurricane season, what types of things they probably should start thinking about using their reserves for. Is it time to repaint? Will it be time to put on the new roof? maybe even those people who have been in violation of the rules, maybe it's an opportunity now to very nicely say, listen, you're home now. This particular fence needs to be fixed. It's the door's falling off. Can we send someone? Can we help you with that? Because I try to emphasize to my buyers of condominiums that, you know, you own a stake in it. You are a shareholder in a village, and you need to, you know, help each other and also help keep the community in good shape, because that maintains property values, which is good for everybody.
Are associations still, asking for loans or lending, or having trouble processing estoppels that you've seen, or things like that?
No, as a matter of fact, in my several closings that I've had over the last couple of weeks, we've been able to get estoppel letters quickly. And one of the things that has changed a lot in the estoppel universe in buying and selling property is that a lot of it is online. You log in, you go online, you put in the address, and then you will get an uploaded ledger and the estoppel letter. And then afterwards, they'll send you the original. But it's very common that you're able to get that information well before the closing.
I'm experiencing very similar things with the city, where employees are working from home, building officials are working from home, processes have went online, and sometimes I start to think, I'm like, why weren't we doing this earlier? Because I'm getting turnaround quick. I just got a couple bulletins earlier this month from Brendan Reliable from Fidelity. And I mean, even these underwriting bulletins, they're offering flexibility in case the lien search or the association or some things transpire between, like, say a closing gets delayed and a lien search or a permit search or an estoppel is only good for 30 days. And they're willing to work with it too and provide flexibility.
Correct. I've seen the same thing. And by the same token, I've also seen, for example, in Dade County, it always took a few days at least to get something recorded. And last week, at the end of the week, we had a closing and we uploaded the mortgage and the warranty deed. And lo and behold, on Monday, everything had been recorded.
Yeah.
Which I was really happy to see that, because you would expect that, you know, with the skeleton crews that are actually down there, it would take longer, but they really turned to the digital networks to, like you say, do things that maybe we could have been doing already for years to have more efficient and effective closing.
And no, I mean, it's remarkable because these people don't have to work with the public and the lobbies, and then you get more individualized attention from them.
Absolutely, I actually think I don't think it'll go back.
Like I had some documents that I submitted in a Dropbox in a building department, and some I submitted via email, and never once did this ever happen. But the people inside the building department and the city attorney's office contacted me, and they said, "What you submitted the wrong form, Ben. We want you to submit this form, and this is how we want you to correct it." Never got that before. Form was just sitting. Everything was just sitting. I had to track these people down, and they're tracking us down to make sure that, you know, we stay healthy and get people to work. And
I think it's freed up a lot of time from them, because someone uploads something and sends it digitally. They can go through those papers and decide what needs to be fixed and send it back. I mean, we also have to deal with the property appraiser's office, because once we close and we record that deed, sometimes it takes a while for them to upload and do the change. But we're finding the same thing, that if there's something with the warranty deed that needs to be revised, you don't end up seeing 6 months later that they haven't done the update. You get a call saying this needs to be fixed. Can you send a corrective warranty deed? That's really been the result of a use of the digital network, as opposed to having piles of paper that they have to flip through in order to give you feedback on what you've submitted and what needs to be revised. And then those things that don't need to be revised are being updated very quickly. which is good for the homeowner, because when they go to pull a permit or they try to contract with a contractor, the contractor normally looks up the property on the property appraiser's website, and they just want to make sure that the person is actually the owner. And so now those things are all matching, as opposed to when there used to be a lag.
Yeah, no, there's a 15-day lag between a closing. Someone goes to pull a permit, and I think that's why for the utility bills and knowing that the owner, the people were asking for closing statements and warrant, and because there was a lag of time in between closing and recording, and getting utilities turned on or getting permits pulled if they wanted to do construction. So
yeah, so that's really sped up. And so in a way, I actually think it's facilitated all parties in the closing. And we've seen more and more people wanting to take an advantage, like I said, of the interest rates to make sure that they get their properties that they've been eyeing now for a while.
And you've always, I mean, since I got into real estate and I left the city, you've always been a mentor to me, and I really appreciate. Something I wanted to touch on with you is I've come to you a lot for financial advice for items that have been personal, or items that have been for clients. What do you suggest people to do? For example, I know investors right now are putting themselves in the position to borrow more or shift money around or do these, short-term SBA loans, these bridge loans. So does your advice depend on the client that you have, as far as if it's an individual or an association? Or
absolutely, and it depends on what their financial tolerance is. I normally, it's with my caveat, I say that I am not a financial advisor, even though I can give them some guidance for things that they can go then take to their financial advisor, their accountant, or whoever is in charge of that, to say which ones of these options that I have now been apprised of would best work in my situation. Because like you said, the financing of major repair projects in associations, really with the interest rates now, are a good time to do it. And once people are allowed to go back out and the contractors are allowed to get onto the property, if you already have that set up, you're in a good position to start your project, to have had some time to make sure that you've qualified, that you have the loan, that you have the funds. And so it's actually, I think it's a very good time.
And what have you been seeing a lot with remote online notaries and these types of things?
Okay, so the remote online notary, I'm glad you brought that up. There has been a lot of misunderstanding, I think, in the real estate market about the breadth of use of the online notary. So the online notary is good as, let's say you have someone in the same state and you're going to use one of the approved notary companies or notaries, that there's a list in the Secretary of State, Florida Department of State, where these approved notaries are. And those are the individuals who have qualified to perform online notary services. Now, these services are not for foreign nationals. And since we do a lot of foreign national real estate
with the consulates, and we're always dealing with those type of things
in South Florida, the idea that there was going to be these online notaries was great, because my client lives in Venezuela and he can't get to a consulate. Well, unfortunately, the online notary service has not gone that far yet. It's still, you have to be a U.S. citizen, you have to be within the state, and so there are some limitations. But what people are doing now, and I don't know if you've seen this in the real estate contract, they have a COVID-19 addendum that talks about allowing additional time in the event that someone is unable to get to a consulate or the embassy, or for any other reason that there's been a delay in the closing, or a need to change the closing date. And remember, some closing dates are being pushed earlier because the banks want to make sure that the loan closes under these terms and there is no need to extend the lock. And so a lot of times in my office, we're getting calls to, can we close on Friday? And we really thought we were going to close next Friday. And we're ready, thank goodness,
Yeah.
because of all the things you're talking about. We've been able to get the lien search, the title search, and we've been able to facilitate moving those things earlier. The surveyors, I'll say something about, you know, the whole process. Surveyors now actually are quite busy. There's a little bit of a waiting list to go have something surveyed. Appraisers, just so it's out there, are asking that, you know, the realtor let them onto the property, but then to just leave them. And I think the same thing I've seen happen with the inspectors. Since there is a concern about maintaining safety and social distance, the inspectors will say, you know, open the house and I'll do the inspection and then I'll come out with a report and I'll go over it. Whereas before COVID-19, you know, the realtor, the buyer, it was like a whole crew.
It was a show.
It was a show that would go on the inspection with the inspector.
Or hounding. No, like I was always like, you know, I saw the realtors and the buyers, they were looking over the appraiser's shoulder, you know, looking over the home inspector's shoulder and things like that. And again, you know, I always told my clients to facilitate this process, let the professionals do their work. And then usually within the same day or the next day, they provide accurate reporting.
Correct. So I think that a lot of those professionals are probably feeling the ability to just do their work without having the spectators following them through the property. And I understand why people want to do it. You are making this investment. You want the inspector to tell you what they've identified. But like you say, a lot of times it makes the job more difficult for the inspector or the appraiser, and they're now better able to just take their time in peace and quiet, ascertain what the issues are, prepare the report, and get that out quickly.
This has been an amazing opportunity because, again, for me to, like you're saying with surveyors, for example, to work with different vendors, to experience working with different people that you wouldn't work with otherwise. We're doing this interview, which we usually talk a lot on Facebook with you. We're doing it on YouTube because, you know, a lot of people using this Zoom technology are just completely saturated and maxed out. So we ended up doing it on YouTube. So I think it's really important, you know, and again, for us to have the entrepreneur spirit for our clients and have the flexibility spirit.
Evolution is really important. Every business evolves after the bust. Real estate evolved, condo. Many new laws came out of that difficult period. And so I anticipate the same thing with COVID-19. And these are all aspects of the law that evolved to help the consumer and all of us professionals that are involved in the industry.
And we still talk about every day, for example, the property management companies that charge too much for an estoppel, or the common topic like the municipalities enforcing Airbnbs and, you know, short-term rentals.
Or the certificate of occupancy matter.
So now, for example, and we were working on a file together again, North Miami, they're allowing an engineer's letter to pass a certificate of occupancy. So, I mean, you're seeing a lot of flexibility in these cases and limitation of exposure. I have some of the cities that say, well, we're only going to allow the inspector to go on the outside, but not on the inside. But again, I think health comes paramount, but people are taking necessary precautions, which is great. And they're still doing business.
Correct. I mean, we're still doing closings. We take the necessary precautions. We have the distancing. We use masks. We wear gloves. We wipe everything down with antiseptic wipes. And we do it with just whether it's the buyer and the seller or whoever's going to be at the proceeding. We're very careful to make sure it's only one person at a time. We're honoring our distance, and we're trying to make sure that everybody's safe in the process. But by the same token, we're making the process happen. We're getting the closings done.
That's great. And you live in Southwest State, right?
Correct. I live in Cutler Bay.
And so what are you experiencing over there as far as like, are you distancing yourself and going out only as you need and working from the house, or what do you, how are you handling
Yes,
it?
exactly. I've been working from the house. So has my paralegal. And you know, I have an office in Coral Gables, but we often work from the house. And so for our law firm in particular, it was an easy transition to stay at home while working. I did have some of my lenders that I represent as lenders counsel ask me, would my office be opened or closed? And I said, well, my office is going to remain open
That's
because my
phenomenal.
office is remote, I would say at least 80% of the time anyways. And so it's been, at least for us, fortunately, a smooth transition. I know that has not been the same for others, but I do respect the fact that they are slowly employing remote work, other title agencies and other businesses, because that, like you said, first and foremost is health and safety, in making sure that we and our employees and our clients all stay safe and healthy. That comes before anything else.
And so a lot of our viewers are South Florida property owners, they're real estate agents. How could they contact you if they have any types of legal questions about things that are going on with their property, or they're thinking about selling, or they have, for example, like some elderly person, I got a call the other day, they're sitting in their property. They say, oh, my property's not deeded in a trust. How can they contact you if they need consultation?
They can reach out and they can call me at my office phone number, 305-450-2825, or they can send me an email. My email address is klynda@horvatlawfirm.com, and I'll just spell that one more time, KLYNDA at HORV as in Victor, AT as in Tango, lawfirm.com. And I'd be more than happy to answer
Phenomenal.
their questions.
And I'm speaking to the property managers, to the association presidents. And again, I think it's crucial and it's awesome that you're able to provide them with an amazing level of service as an owner operator with your staff.
Yes, and I'm very happy to do it. It's always my pleasure. I love what I do. I feel I'm blessed that every day I wake up and I get to engage in a profession that not only satisfies me, but I feel like I'm helping people. So
we love, you know, we love when we get that problem solved.
Oh, yes, I'm a problem solver. So to me, every problem is an opportunity to help somebody. And at the end of the day, feel really good that I solved another problem for somebody, whether it's, like you said, whether it's the realtor, whether it's the lender. That's always my mission. And I like to be able to feel it's mission accomplished at the end of the day.
Well, thank you, Lynda Horvat, an amazing real estate attorney, personal friend of mine. And I've been in the trenches with her before COVID. We're closing transactions during COVID and helping out our clients and being here for South Florida residents and business owners. And we're going to provide her contact information below. Please like our Facebook page, YouTube, Periscope. We like to provide a lot of audio on podcasting too. And thank you for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me,
Thank
Ben.
you, Lynda.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Stay healthy. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you. Be healthy.
Bye-bye.